Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to yet another Workshop Wednesday. It is actually April the 1st as we are recording this, which means we get to go back. It's the first workshop of a new month, and so we're looking back at what Google has released for us in March 2020. Now, if this is your first Workshop Wednesday, welcome. My name is Chris Mercer. I go by Mercer, and I'm the co-founder here at measurementmarketing.io, and maybe you found us through Digital Marketer or our courses in CXL Institute, maybe the ones we've done for Social Media Examiner, or maybe you're already a member over at measurementmarketing.io, where we've got Win Monthly Pass and a ton of other courses and trainings and tools over there. Either way, however you found us, welcome back. Of course, our main job here is to help people just like yourself figure out how to use these tools. Now, more than ever, it is incredibly important that we understand where we are. Data is important. As I actually record this, we are in the midst of coronavirus. I don't have to tell you that because no matter where you are in the world, we are all experiencing the same thing. So, when it comes to measurement and marketing, you've got to know where you are. When it comes to coronavirus and data, we got to know where we are. It's why we test so much. And so what we're doing here is helping you to learn how to do this with marketing, right? To understand where you are from a marketing perspective so you know what to adjust. And we do that through the measurement marketing framework. Now, that really is 5 key things: planning, building, reporting, forecasting, and optimizing. So first you think about, okay, what is important for me to measure in my marketing? I want to know where my traffic sources are coming from. I want to know the results of those traffic sources, etc. Then you do the build out using things like Tag Manager and analytics to actually make sure that you're recording all the information you need to get those answers. Then you build a report that shows you the answers, or you use an existing report, something like maybe the source medium report in Google Analytics, or maybe you're building a dashboard with Data Studio. And then of course, once you have your benchmarks, you can forecast what your near results are going to be, and then you optimize against what you thought they were going to be. So actually run traffic and see how things are changing. And that way you can adjust, because right now, again, more than ever, it is incredibly important to know your numbers, know where you are, know where you're headed, have a forecast, and be able to create that little feedback loop so you can steer your ships and make sure that despite the market conditions and despite the massive amount of change that we are all experiencing right now, we can have a steady confidence of moving forward based upon knowing where we are, knowing what's working, what's not, using these steps. So please, if you're not already, make sure that you implement the framework itself. Again, think about planning, building, reporting, forecasting, and optimizing. All right, now with this workshop, as with all of our workshops, one new idea is all we're really looking to grab. Now I'm going to cover a few things. I expect, I'm not actually sure at all what's going to happen for April, because let's face it, Google is also social distancing right now, right? So they're not in the offices all day, every day, as they were for at least part of March. And we did definitely see changes in March, which was great. There was new features and updates that have come through. I don't know what to expect in April, but for the ones, whenever you watch any of these workshops, your main sort of mission here to get the most out of it is to pick one new thing that you can practice, one new thing that you can take. Now, we're going to cover the 3 different platforms, really. Tag Manager, Analytics, and Data Studio all saw some changes in March. So we're going to talk about those. Some are going to be way outside the scope of what you normally do. I would say that Tag Manager one that you're going to hear about is definitely that. But others you're going to be able to implement immediately. And the Data Studio one will be in that. So again, just pick on one thing that you can use, practice that, then you can come back, rewatch this workshop, pick something else up. All right, let's get underway, shall we? What's new? Updates and features released in March 2020. Now we're just going to head and jump right in, and I'm going to talk about, first and foremost, analytics. And actually before I talk about analytics, I'm talk about very quickly Tag Manager. Tag Manager did have some API updates that are specifically related to custom templates. The only reason I'm not bringing it up as a slide or anything here is because I think it's very, very high level, very technical. Most people watching this particular workshop won't even care or know what I'm talking about. But know that you can now access things like local storage through API using custom templates. So for those of you who are out there developing custom templates, it is something to take a look at. For the rest of you who are like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Mercer, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. You don't have to know it, and it probably doesn't affect your real life at all. But just want to make sure that those of you who are out there doing that know about that. Now, let's move into analytics. Now, in this case, I'm going to start in my admin screen, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going to flip to the new 2.0 version of analytics, which is app and web. Now, remember, if you're not involved in creating an app and web interface for your own company yet, you might want to take a look at doing this, because as I have seen personally, the pattern with product development is all the effort and the resources that Google is putting forth into this tool called analytics are coming into this property, specifically the app and web properties, and they look very different. Of course, we do have Win Google Analytics 2.0 for those of you who want to learn how to do that if you don't already have this set up. Now, this is not at all something you will use on a day-to-day basis, at least not now, at least not for most of you. But it is something you should at least have set up like we do. We're not using this at all to manage our marketing. I'll be 100% honest, we're not. But I expect to start using it as the year goes through more and more and more because cooler features are coming to this platform on a monthly basis. And so what I wanted to do is kind of get ahead of the curve, get our account set up in here. We're running it in parallel. So you do this one and you do your regular one. And then we're going to just kind of practice this one a little bit and build our skills so that toward the end of the year is kind of when I'm thinking it'll be more useful to us. We'll have data back there. We'll have some setup back there. We'll have some experience back there and we can start really taking a look at it. But the reason that I wanted to talk about it today was because of the updates that have come through. So one of them was real time. Believe it or not, they did not have a real time report in this. Now there's a real time. So you can see here, it's kind of a cool look at real time. I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of real time reports because they really are just for testing, in my opinion, and you want to see if things are working or not. But this one looks cool. Let's face it, you got this worldwide map of what's going on, and so you can see who's on your site and from where and when and what pages and everything else, and of course any events that are coming through for testing purposes, right, to see if things are working or not. So you've got all of that. This is new. This didn't really exist, and it was released in early March. Now, other things that you can do. So if I come into reports here, let's go into retention. So we've gotten to retain the reports. Now there've been some, this is great. There's actually been some changes already to these. We recently created and the reason that I'm laughing here is I knew this was going to happen. I created a course called Win Google Analytics 2.0 and then they changed the names of all of these. So, hey, there you go. But this is what I love. This platform is going to be changing all the time. So, fortunately we'll be creating workshops and keeping updates through. But retentions, this is talking about, different users coming through, engagement monetization. So new labels have actually been released. This is a brand new change, like within last week. Because we just recorded that last week. So, some new changes coming through, which is great. Again, I love that they're making this more user-friendly and more purpose-driven to help people really get in here and figure out what's going on. But what you can do, the feature that's really new is you can go into this customize report and then you can actually start to customize and analyze in certain one of these reports. I don't know if I can get at the trigger here. Let me see if I can get into a specific report. If I can drill down here. I'm not going to be able to see it probably too quickly. But I'm not going to see if I can get in here at all. What I really want to see if I can edit, because there is a new analysis feature, which should be showing up down here. So it may not have rolled up through ours yet, but there is going to be, I'm not seeing it here. So I apologize for that, but there is going to be an area where you can customize and you can analyze certain reports in the analysis section. So it'll kind of move it into analysis for you. And it's going to be through the edit features. So you'll have that option as well coming forth. The other thing that was added was cohorts. Now, and this is a cohort analysis right in here under analysis. So now you can build your own cohort reports. Yay, us. Now, again, cohorts are just groups that are tracking different groups that are tracking a result over time. That's all a cohort is. It's very, very simple. For those of you who need to learn about cohorts, we've got Win cohorts retention as well. So if you want to take a look at that course, but what is, again, we've not practiced playing around with this. This is a new report, but it seems like we can put in some, different groups and different events that we're kind of going for, so we can change some things and maybe make cohort reporting a little bit more useful than in the regular analytics, where I don't think it was as useful. In kind of that legacy version that we all know and love. But know that this is new. So cohort reports are new. And what I'm liking about this is not that I'm going to go in here and build cohort reports and figure out something in the next week, though some of you certainly might, if you're already further ahead than we are on this particular platform. But I like the fact of seeing where this platform is going, seeing how these reports are changing and seeing, okay, this is not cooked at all, but this is the time to kind of get used to the platform and figure out where everything is and the difference between analysis reports and your regular reports and, events and conversion events and all that fun stuff that exists, because it doesn't matter right now for me. I personally don't use this at all for any real insights at all. I don't think I'm going to be able to for months. I'll be honest, this is a complicated platform. It's going to take me some time to think myself through this and then to simplify it so that we can talk about it and figure out, okay, how do we make this the most useful thing that we can? But it's powerful, and there's a lot of cool things that are coming back here, and this is changing all the freaking time. So this is why I'm spending so much time on this particular update, pointing out, hey, these are things you're probably not going to use right away. Just know that they're back here, and it's another reason, if you haven't already started, set up an apps and web property, and you just run it in parallel. You don't disconnect your old analytics and start using this one, because again, this one's not going to be anywhere near as useful as the other one is, as your existing one is, but you do both. So you can start playing with some of this stuff and get used to it. And just, again, put on the clock for you, like toward the end of the year, you'll get better at this and you'll start using it more and more. But at least for the next 6 months, you're just sort of getting your feet wet, figuring things out, not really attached to any sort of success with this platform other than turning it on and figuring out where everything is. That's all it is, right? Make it an easy win for you. But know that it's back here. And this is yet another reason and another signal from Team Google that they are really focusing on this, right? Changing everything and getting it through. So I love the names, even though it's going to force me to re-record the course pretty quickly. That's okay. Like, I love that things are changing back here. I love the growth. I knew that was going to happen, and I just am grateful that they are continuing to simplify it for everybody coming through as well. So that is the analytics update, was really on these reports and the new app and web properties continuing to evolve. And then finally, Data Studio. Now I'm going to click into a blank report because there's a really big change that if you use Data Studio at all, you will already see. I did not do anything to connect in a connector, a data source. I didn't connect a connector in to get a data source at all. This just pops up now. This is great. This is such a streamlined, easier, because it used to be this would pop up, it's a blank, and then you had your little thing with your themes, and you had to connect a data source, and then you had to come into here and then find your data source. No longer. This just pops up because, of course, you need a data source. So it's going to connect in. Or you can go to My Data Sources and pull up one of your existing. That's the shortcut to pull in something you know you already have. So you can connect a new one if you want. You don't have to go through and reconnect yours over and over, or you just go to My Data Sources. These are the existing ones. And you just pull in your data source and you're off to the races. So that's the biggest change from a usability standpoint. Much easier to get started and connect data sources. So that's the first thing. Second thing is if I go into, let me see here. I'm going to go into our little workshop example report. So one of the changes, and this is the other thing that I would say is the biggest change that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to click on Edit. Now, this is an example of conditional formatting right here. So we had done this, and this was a change that came out a while ago, right? Because again, Data Studio for the win. They do amazing changes. I love Team Data Studio. But when I come in here, if I go to Style, this is where the conditional formatting was set up. So we have that. We can edit this rule, and we see, here when this thing is true, then make this thing the color of whatever it is, and you can format stuff. So what has changed in here? Let me see if I can. As we go through, we're going to go to conditional formatting. We go to Add, and then we now have there's single color, which is what you were looking at before. Then there's color scale. This is new. So this I really, really like because we exactly do this. We used to do this with single colors. So we have the way that we set up our optimization. We have certain forecasts in mind for certain conversion rates of certain steps in our funnels or customer journeys that we're trying to achieve. And we were doing, well, if it's within this range, then make it green. If it's within this range, yellow. If it's in this range, red. Well, now we can basically say, hey, change this, the scorecard, or in this case, it's a table that we're editing, but it could be a scorecard or everything else. You can gradient and say, if it's a percentage, between here and here, then make it red and then gradient to yellow and then gradient to green. And you have presets. So based upon your own color palette, you can either enter your own or you can just use the preset. So, and then of course here is if you really wanted to customize with your own palette, you can do that as well. So I think this is super useful. And of course you can change it to a number as well. If it's between this and this, then red. And then, as it gets closer to a certain number, it goes up. So pretty cool things that you can do now with conditional formatting. And as tiny as that might seem to some of you who are like, well, yeah, I can conditionally format. This is what makes your reports engaging, useful, and helps to take your dashboard or your reports from just being information based to being action oriented, because you can see, hey, this step is green, nothing to do here, we're awesome. Or this step is showing yellow, maybe we should be aware of this. Or this step is red, okay, we definitely have to focus on this particular part of our customer journey or metric or number, whatever the thing is that you're doing. So conditional formatting, if you are not yet taking advantage of it, definitely now's the time, because they've had it out for a while. But just this idea of being able to add in and have gradients and have this light up, red, yellow, green based upon users here, or whatever the metric is that you're doing for a scorecard or a table or anything else. incredibly useful. So I want to have my team personally go back and redo our conditional formats because I want to see that. I want to be able to see like how yellow, right? How red. So I can kind of get an idea of how things are useful. So anyway, that's kind of how that works. And the biggest update that came out with Google Data Studio is really the idea of the single colors and the color scales changing how conditionally formatting was done. The other things that were really existing, I think, when it comes to Data Studio itself were the new workflow, which was when you came in and created a new report, it showed you the Data Studio connector automatically. You can also, in your email, let me see if I can pull that up here, schedule email delivery. So in here, you can actually set this up to customize the subject line and the message bodies now. So you can now, update that. So as you go through and you schedule emails, you can click on custom email subject and message, type in the subject, type in the message. Hey, customer, here's your, email report showing the latest sales or results or whatever the thing is. Showing off new, this one's been updated with new customized conditional formatting. So you'll have that in there and then you can schedule it. So this is the new feature, this little customization part of email. So again, this is really impressive. I think the team constantly over it in Google for Team Data Studio here, really pushing through some changes just as much as really analytics is doing with the new app and web properties. So super useful. Love it. And now we don't use Google Ads, so I really can't demonstrate this, but if you are pulling in Google Ads as a connector into your dashboards, then you have a lot more stuff. So if you've been doing local work at all, you've got a whole lot more connector fields that are available to you than you once did. So if you've ever gone to Google Ads and you're like, I wish I could pull this, but I couldn't pull it before, check again, do a little refresh and see that there are a lot of new fields in the Google Ads connector that are now available to you. So shopping impressions, shopping overlaps, store display names, installs, especially for brick and mortar stuff, it's going to be pretty useful for you. So lots of cool things that are available as Data Studio continues to evolve. So what was your one thing? Now, maybe for some of you, it was like tag manager thing. Maybe you're doing custom templates and you're like, yay, local storage. Finally, that's going to solve a huge issue for us. And you can now take that and run off with it. The other, which I think most of you watching this, it's either going to be being aware of app and web properties. So again, if you haven't installed and gotten one set up yet, I would still do that. That platform is going to change so much between now and the next 6 months that I honestly wouldn't worry about understanding it to a super detailed level yet because the details are going to change, but you should get used to the basics. And so that's what I would say on that one. Or maybe it was just Data Studio, like you're doing dashboards and you're trying to figure out, like, how do I make these more engaging? How do I have these more directional? How do I make this more action-oriented? Conditional formatting helps with that. The workflow improvements. You can get up and running a whole lot faster than you could before with this new Data Studio workflow. Or if you are communicating by sending reports to your clients, because let's face it, sometimes they need to have that stuff sent to them and they'd rather just see it in a PDF and an email, you can now customize messages. So go back and change your schedules because you might already have those set up. Go back and maybe customize the emails a little bit so you can have your customers know that it's coming from you. So with that, hopefully you got at least one new thing. And if you are interested in learning more about this, I've mentioned some of the wins. We've got, Win, Google Analytics 2.0, where we talk about app and web and how to set that up. Fortunately for me, all of that training that we did, most of it is the same. It's just the labels will look a little different, but the way to set it up is get you up and running will still apply. We also have win retention, churn, and cohorts if you're trying to figure out cohort stuff. And then if we've got the basics, Data Studio basics, and Google Analytics setup, and Google Analytics basics, and Tag Manager basics. Lots of different wins back there. Measure.tips/courses will take you there. And of course, our instructors are there to help you as well. So remember, all of these courses come with instructor support, and that is the key takeaway. Sometimes you get a video and you can watch a video and then you're like, great, I have no idea what to do with this. That's what our instructors are there for. So they'll help you customize results for your own liking. And we also have the Measurement Marketing Academy, which includes all the courses, but levels things up. It is really perfect for teams. So measure.tips/start. It is an application that you would fill out to actually become part of the Academy. We want to make sure it's a good fit for you, but it comes with multiple accounts. You're able to access all of the Win courses. Different members of your team would actually have access to all of the courses. Plus there's group coaching support in the members Q&A, where only Academy members can actually talk to instructors and jump on calls and work things out. So really cool things that are available to you as an Academy member. And again, if you're a company, if you're an agency, if you've got a team, if you really want to have a measurement marketing culture in your organization, take a look at Academy because it would be the best bet for you there. And speaking of, if you are an Academy member, thank you, of course, for watching this. And every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, we have Academy Office Hours Members Q&A. So we'll see you on the next Office Hours Member Q&A every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, next week's topic, we're going to switch topics again. We always do different categories. So next week's topic is a getting started topic. So we talk to our beginners, and we're going to talk about a Google Analytics topic that is just sort of answering the basic question of where are my users coming from. So we're going to talk about where to find traffic, how to tag your traffic, how to think about your traffic, that sort of stuff. What reports are going to use in Google Analytics to find all those information and those details. Really, everything talking about how to answer where are my users coming from, and that'll be next week on Workshop Wednesday. Speaking of, now, not all of these workshops do we make public. So we have the Measurement Marketing Toolbox, which includes Workshop Wednesday, which is what you're watching now. So we have access to each workshop. It stays in there for a week, and then it rotates out with the next workshop. So you have access to all the workshops. You'll get an email that talks about the topics coming up. If you don't want to show up for that workshop, you don't have to. They have different topics. There's a getting started topic, beyond basics topic. We've got the strategy sessions topic, and of course, topics like today, which is the what's new, to help make sure everyone's caught up on the latest and greatest changes. But we also have the tools. There's the traffic tracking toolkit, the analytics report card, marketing behavior toolkit, regex heroes for those trying to learn regular expressions, how to set goals using ACE goals, and on and on and on. There's so many more tools back here than what's currently showing. But we created this Measurement Marketing Toolbox membership, and we basically gave this away for free. So we basically created this membership that includes Workshop Wednesday, that includes all of the measurement marketing tools that we've created, plus others that we've found and use ourselves. We've put them all into a membership. It is completely free to get access to that. So 100% free. Just create an account and you'll have access to everything. Measure.tips/WW, just our way of helping to support the community, and go from there. So again, measure.tips/WW to get your free Toolbox membership, and then you'll have access to all the workshops, all the tools, and everything else. All right, you've just watched What's New? Updates and features released in March 2020. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.